Hey everyone, Chris Hall here with Prehistoric Digital in Santa Monica, California, coming to you with another episode of Anatomy of a Grade. Today we're going to take a look at a shot from a feature film trailer done on Arri Alexa, and you can see we've got these two characters. Looks like mid-afternoon, standing out in the middle of a field here. It's a very interesting shot from a compositional standpoint, but nothing is really going on in terms of color and contrast. So I'd like to give this a late afternoon golden look and really amp things up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 nodes here. And in this middle node, I'm going to add an Arri Alexa S-curve LUT. Now what is that? Basically, it's a simple S-curve. And what's an S-curve, you ask? Well, an S-curve looks like this. If I were to go down here to this little curve tab here and make a quick S-curve, bringing down the shadows, bringing up the highlights, you can see this is doing about the same thing that my LUT is doing over here. Let me turn this off and A/B this for you. They're about the same thing, only Arri's LUT is doing a lot less to the mids and it's kind of got a smoother fall off to it. So I think it works great. So I've got the LUT in here, and then I'm going to start in on my primary color correction, and this is where most of the work is going to happen. So here we go. I'm going to bring down my mids and my low end. And I'm really going to kind of crank up the contrast by bringing up the gain. We'll bring it down slightly because I know we're going to add a lot of warmth into this image. And I want to give myself a little room to do that. Now, as I kind of rock things back and forth, you're going to see I'm going to add blue to the shadows to kind of compensate for the warmth in the highlights. And I'm just going to find a middle ground here that seems to work. I'm not going to worry about blown out highlights at this point because I really just want to concentrate on the color and contrast. We'll fix the rest later on. Add a little bit of saturation here to amp things up. Maybe we'll bring the mids back just a little, put a little more blue-green in there. Kind of got a little bit of that cyan swing look that I talked about in the previous episode going on, but not overly. This is not an overly stylized grade that we're going for here. All right, this is looking pretty good to me. Let me just add a little more warmth. And maybe bring the mids up a little. Now I'm just gonna roll off the bottom end. Good. Yeah, I'm really happy where this is falling right now. Now, the one thing we got to look at is this area up here. We've got kind of our brighter, warmer sky now, but you can see it's clipping up here. If we look at the waveform monitor, this red channel is just really blown out. So I want to roll that off, and I'm going to use my high clip tool to do that. We'll roll off everything, maybe a little more so in the red channel. If I pull it back and just roll the red off a little bit more than everything else. Yeah, that's looking a lot smoother. Now, look at the difference. Here's just with the LUT applied, and here's with one node of primary color correction. We're literally 75% of the way done at this point. And I think a lot of people think that they can't do most of their grade as just a primary color correction. They feel like they got to go in and do a secondary correction and, you know, add a luminance key and all these other fancy things. Sometimes a grade calls for that, but other times I think you can do most of what you need to do in the primary color correction. And really, you just got to rock it back and forth and work those channels until things start to fall into place where you want them. So the final step in this process is we're going to add a vignette. Now over here, I've got a vignette already saved. I'm going to apply it to the end of the node, and let's see what it's doing here. Let's see, I've got my circle here, and this vignette is made for widescreen, so we're going to adjust it for this 235 framing. I'm going to pull off what the vignette's doing right now and just show you the shape. So you can see we're just we've got them unaffected in the middle, and then it's falling off towards the edges. Now, all I'm doing on this vignette is pulling down the gamma, and there's many ways that you can deal with vignettes. You can pull down the gain, you can increase the contrast, you can add a color, you can add a blur. In this case, I'm just using the mids or the gamma, and I'm just clamping them down. I'll bring them down about 0.25. And it's not a big move, but it's enough to really give a little more contrast to the edges. Now, I'm also going to soften this out just a little bit because it's looking a little harsh. There, that's looking pretty good. maybe we'll go into our key and we'll just lighten up this vignette just a little bit so it's not overly obvious. Now look at what we have going on up here. This is what I love about vignettes. We've got this bright horizon, which is very natural. A sky would look like that, falling off to a darker shade of orange at the top and the peripherals of the frame. This is very natural, and this vignette is giving us some nice dimension to an otherwise kind of flat shot. Look at if I turn it on and off here. Look at what's happening up here with the sky. We get this nice band of vibrant orange, and down here, look what's happening to the grass. We get a little more shape on the edges of our frame as it falls off towards these characters, and we get some contrast that wasn't there before. So we're focusing the viewer's eye in the middle of the screen while at the same time providing a lot more depth to our image. So if I play the whole shot back, you can see we've come a long way from A to B. This looks a lot different than it did in the original. I'll A-B them back and forth for you. And it's a lot more interesting, a lot more vibrant. We've got a lot going on in terms of color, contrast, depth. We're guiding the viewer's eyes toward the center of the frame. And we really didn't need to do a whole heck of a lot in terms of color correction. So thanks for watching this episode of Anatomy of a Grade. Please check out the blog at chrishallcolor.blogspot.com. And we'll talk to you very soon with another episode of Anatomy of a Grade. Bye-bye.